I'm going to talk to you guys today about the monetary system where I live in Canada. I'm not going to get into too much detail because I think it's going to bore some of you guys, but I really encourage those of you who want to learn more just to do a little bit of research yourself. And a good place you might want to check out to start is a movie called America From Freedom to Fascism by Aaron Russo. So let's get into this. So the Canadian government's in the process of giving out billions of dollars right now during this crisis. Don't you guys wonder where all this money is coming from in the first place? Now, Canada's currency used to be tied to the price of gold. Gold is a tangible asset, and the reason that this was done was to stabilize the value of the currency. But officially, since the early 1930s, the currency has been free floating. So in other words, we now have a fiat currency. What does that mean? It essentially means that the currency is backed by nothing. In other words, the only value that the currency has is what people believe the value is. It also allows the government's central bank to have greater control of the currency supply. Now, what happens when a government prints a lot of money? Well, the result of this is what's called hyperinflation. This means that the purchasing power of the currency is greatly reduced. Now, a somewhat recent example of this happening is in Zimbabwe. They actually started making $100 billion banknotes, and at one time, bread cost $550 million. Now, this same scenario is going to play out in Canada and all over the world. It's hard to say how bad it's going to get in Canada, but the dollar will lose significant purchasing power. Think about a market for a rare painting. Say there's only one in the world. Well, what happens when there are 1,000? What about 10,000? What about 1,000,000? The value falls off a cliff. This is the same concept but in reverse. Instead of paying $2 for eggs at the grocery store, I'm predicting it's going to be double that in the next 18 to 24 months, and that's a best case scenario. Now, the Bank of Canada has the ability to create and issue currency directly to the Canadian government, and the interest on that currency would just be repaid to the people of Canada. The problem is now that for a number of years, the government has been taking compound interest loans from the big 5 banking institutions in Canada, like TD. That means that Canadian debt is piling up. The average debt per Canadian is now over $18,000. Does that piss you off? What should you do about it? So the first thing you can do is pull your money out of these big banks. Do not support BMO, Scotiabank, RBC, CIBC, and especially TD in any way. Some of these banks actually charge you to maintain a minimum monthly account with them. This is called negative interest rates. Do not support them in any way, including insurance, loans, RRSP, etc. Do not donate to these banks. Look into opening a credit union that is independently owned. These banks are savagely run and have no concept of treating people with respect. They are black holes for currencies, constantly looking to build bigger and bigger annual profits and suck their customers' currency dry. Did you know that these banks don't even have the money that they issue? If 1/10 of their customers went to withdraw all of their funds at once, there is a very high likelihood that all of these banks would not have the currency to pay out. This would cause what's called a bank run and would lead to a default. Look up fractional reserve banking which is the system we have all over the world. The other thing you can do is spread the message about this and tell people. Educate them. Think about it. What do you have to lose? People are losing their jobs at a historical rate in Canada and all over the world. And your savings will lose significant value anyways by sitting in the bank. Even in a GIC or a savings account, it won't keep up with inflation. Think about investing in tangible assets like gold, silver, cryptocurrency. Even investing in a business or something that would allow you to be self-sustainable, like planting a garden in your backyard. The last thing you want to be is totally reliant on an incompetent, lying government who never delivers anything they promise without strings attached. Before you guys go, don't forget to like and subscribe. Just trying to get the word out there. I'm not trying to get famous or anything, but this is really important information you got to share with people.